Hey guys, the Sebastian Uber guy here. I'm sitting at the mall in Melbourne waiting on a ride, which seems to be few and far in between. So I thought I'd take a few minutes to do a little video while I'm waiting on my next ride here. I wanted to talk about a few things. Today I'm driving in Melbourne, okay? I'm a little tired. I don't want to go out to Orlando. But I'm finding myself wanting to go out to the Orlando area more and more, particularly since I've been taking the 192 route, which is New Haven Avenue. I'm right next to it here. It goes straight out west, comes into St. Cloud. Two-lane road going both ways, very little traffic, very scenic, cow pastures, ranch, that type of thing. Much less stressful than going up I-95 and hitting 528 and 520, 528 going across into Orlando. You bypass all the tolls, plus you don't have to play NASCAR going down the road. And it's actually a lot quicker. If you're coming from the south, you can just head straight across. It'll put you right under the south end of Orlando. So I usually go out 192. Like I say, it's about 40 minutes driving at a reasonable rate, 65 or so miles an hour, 60, 65. And just before I get to St. Cloud, I hit Narcoossee Road, which goes north for about 10 miles or so, and comes up into the south end of Orlando. And I have the option of staying in that area or hit 417, where I'll hit one toll, cost me about $2 or so, going west towards the theme parks. So there are a lot of options there. The best thing about it is I can come into St. Cloud and I don't have to make a decision right away as to what exit to take off 528, where I'm going to go. I can sit there and go over my plans, what I'm going to do, my strategy, that type of thing. Also, if I want to make it a 2-day affair on the weekend rather than go out there and come back twice, which is a lot of gas and more miles on the car, I'll elect to stay at one of the small motels in the St. Cloud area, or one of the cabins on the lakes that they have there. They're very reasonable. The price is reasonable. They're old. Looks like they were probably built 50s or 60s, but they've been well maintained. Of course, the object is to get a cheap room that's comfortable and stay there. Go out there on Saturday morning and then, sign into the room there and stay there overnight Saturday, so that I can ride again Sunday. I'm already there Sunday morning. All I got to do is turn on the app. Saves me from having to come up from Sebastian and again do the same thing. Having said that, staying 2 days out there like that, all day long driving, you can come back with a nice chunk of change. So you can actually do that and not have to drive the rest of the week. It just all depends on the kind of money you're trying to make. Don't try to stay at a cheap, reasonable motel in Orlando, because if you find something that's $40, $50, even $50 or so in Orlando, it's probably in a combat zone. Not the same in St. Cloud. That's a little bit of a different area there. So actually, you don't even have to go up into Orlando. You could, once you get into St. Cloud, turn on the app, and I guarantee you within 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to start getting rides. Now, the rides may pull you up into Orlando. That's a definite possibility. But they're usually nice long rides. I had one that took me all the way up to Altamont Springs. You talk about a $25 trip there. You get some of those, and it really makes it worthwhile. Or, of course, you get some of the small ones just down the road. Maybe $3 or $4 or something like that. But that's just comes with the territory. That's what you have to do. Anyway, I talk more and more about Orlando because it's much more feasible. I make the kind of money that I want to make. It's more miles on the car, but if you can go out to Orlando for 2 days, make the same money you can make or actually make a lot more money than you can make in Melbourne the entire week. Melbourne it has too many drivers now versus the number of passengers. I'm sitting in the mall. I'll probably be sitting here an hour waiting for a ride again. But no matter where you go, even the airport, you know, if you only have 4 or 5 flights that come in a day, and if there's more than 3 drivers sitting there waiting for a plane to come in, I don't even stay there, because each of those flights yield very few passengers that want to use Uber or Lyft. I mean, maybe 4 or 5 at the most. It's just not worth it to me, anyway. And I don't like driving around Melbourne. A lot of people like to drive here and there, back and forth. You use up all your gas, and you're hoping to. I call it a drive-by. You're hoping to catch somebody, drive right past them when they're getting ready to ask for a ride. Because obviously you're closer to them, you'd probably get the ride. I don't want to do that. I just prefer to sit in one spot, save the gas, and just use it on taking somebody on a trip. So to me, it just makes more sense to go out to Orlando. Now, a few things you want to know if you go out there. Number one, like I say, make sure that you are familiar with the app. You're comfortable with it. You don't want to be out in the middle of I-4 going down 70 miles an hour trying to figure out something on an app. You want your eyes on the road. So try to become comfortable with it before you go out there. Also, try to invest in a transponder for what they call E-Pass or Sun Pass for the Turnpike, so that you could go through the tolls without stopping to pay with coins or anything like that. I'm just now trying to get one. I've been doing the coin route where I go through the toll booths and pay. That's fine. It slows you down. But if you get on the turnpike, there's nobody to pay. And they got you tagged. Trust me, there are cameras all over the place. And you'll eventually get a notice in the mail to pay the toll. Okay. If you keep doing that, and they keep seeing your tag pop up, you probably get a nice fine with that. So try to invest in something like that. I think you can get them at Publix, Walgreens, or CVS, and you can sign up online. Also, when you go out to Orlando, if you go into St. Cloud and you get a ride and you get pulled up into Orlando, let's say the north end of Orlando, the best thing to do is after you drop that person off, let's say you're up in the north end around Highway 50 or something like that, drop him off, and as long as it's a decent area, it's safe and everything, just pull over into a shopping center there and wait for another ride. The rides, you don't have to be in a certain spot in Orlando. Some places are more active than others, but I guarantee you're going to get another ride. So that way, don't start driving around all over the city waiting for a ride to come to you. In that way, you're just going to waste gas. The same scenario. Just park a little ways from where you drop somebody off and wait for the next one. If for some reason you don't, then relocate. But what you'll do is play the ping pong game, and you're going to be going back and forth around the city. But that's a good thing, because the long trips pay more. In Orlando, the fares are a little bit less. You'll notice that as far as what you get paid for a comparable ride here in Melbourne. But the number of rides that you can pick up there outweigh that completely. Both Uber and Lyft are very active out there, so if you're using both apps, and you should, be sure that when you get a call on either Uber or Lyft, if you're using the same phone, make sure you turn the other app off. That way, if you're going down the road with somebody, you don't get a call on the other rideshare provider. That you don't want to do, because you can't take it, obviously, and you're going to have to let it go, and that's going to go against you. So be careful if when you're doing that. Best places to go in Orlando. I mean, the theme parks. This time of the year, the theme parks are a lot slower. But of course, in the tourist season in the fall and winter, it's a whole different ballgame. Downtown, particularly at night. The convention center, anywhere around, anywhere along International Drive, just anywhere. Just about Millennium Mall, the Florida Mall. There's so many places in Orlando to get rides. You're just going to go, you won't even know where you are unless you're familiar with Orlando. You're just going to get bumped back and forth across the city, but your app's going to take care of you for no matter where you're going. And at the end of the day, it's, when you look at your app and see how much money you made, you'll be glad you did. Anyway, that's about all for Orlando for right now, I guess. One thing I do want to do is just take a quick moment and show you the equipment I use. I don't use very much. I don't spend a lot of money on this job. The object is to make money. So you don't want to invest a whole lot of money in phones and things like that. So that's what I want.